popular YouTuber Jake Weddle recently called out MrBeast for abusing him on a video set. However, I just found another former MrBeast employee who is willing to come out and testify against Jake Weddle. He is going to reveal to us that the truth is actually far deeper than we initially thought. So, allow me to welcome in Mr. Howie Johnson. Hi. Sorry, who are you? I'm the raccoon's translator. See, this raccoon, who used to work for MrBeast, can't speak English because he's a raccoon. Therefore, I'm going to be translating the raccoon. I'm going to stand off set over here, and I'm just going to sort of say everything the raccoon says, but in English, and then in post-production you can sort of dub my lines over the raccoon to make it look like the raccoon is talking. Good. Mr. Johnson, what allegations do you have to levy against your former employer? MrBeast was never the actual owner of the company. Jake Weddle was in charge all along. What? Well, MrBeast's first video got 20,000 views. Now, Jimmy didn't care about the money, and he didn't want to keep making videos. But when Jake Weddle looked at it, he realised he was sitting on a gold mine. So Weddle sent his goons to kidnap MrBeast and his family. For years, Jake would threaten MrBeast's family, keeping Jimmy in the basement and forcing him to make videos for the enormous profit of Jake Weddle. That's terrible. It simply couldn't stand. So Chandler came along, joined the crew, and helped MrBeast and the boys overthrow Jake, leaving Jimmy in charge. So why hasn't Jimmy shut the channel down? Because if he shut down the channel, he'd get comments asking him to come back. Instead, he's destroying his reputation first, so nobody wants the channel back. That's why he started Lunchly. So when did you come into it? So you know how most actors have to take on jobs they don't want to get famous? Yes. I got the job working for the company when Jake was still in charge. I was on less than minimum wage, working for exposure, thinking this was my ticket to the top. But in reality, I was never featured in the videos. He just made me work 14 hours a day and lowered my pay because raccoons don't have workers' rights yet. And I'm not the only raccoon who worked there. He mistreated so many of his raccoon employees. In fact, here is a graph showing the average happiness of a raccoon, and here is when Jake Weddle was born. Coincidence? I think not. Oh god, that's horrifying. So I guess the reason that Jake Weddle is now coming out and saying bad things against MrBeast is because he wants to, get revenge on Jimmy for overthrowing him. It's like a smear campaign in revenge. I guess. However, I should mention, you know Jake's story about how MrBeast kept him in solitary confinement for 11 days? Yes. Well, turns out that that story was true. The only difference was that Jake wasn't the one in prison. It was me. And I can prove this by pointing out that if you zoom in on the picture, you can actually see that it's my face there. The person in that picture is actually a raccoon. Wow! Well, thanks for coming to this interview. Before we leave, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Yeah, Jake Weddle did so much arson. Here's a graph of the number of arsons committed, and here's when Jake Weddle was born. Coincidence? I think not. We even have picture evidence. Here we go. Well, that looks like irrefutable evidence to me. Anything else? Yes, he did 9/11. Here's a graph of the number of planes that have been hijacked and crashed into the Twin Towers, and here is when Jake Weddle was born. Coincidence? I think not. Well, there you have it, folks. Jake Weddle kidnapped MrBeast in his basement and forced him to make videos for him, and he was also really mean to raccoons. I hope you've changed your mind about this clearly terrible person. Goodbye.